Hello everybody and welcome to our geography lesson today. And this is actually our last lesson of the whole unit about Brazil. I hope you've enjoyed it. So we're going to be doing some recapping today on all the different things that we've learnt about Brazil. I've had a good time teaching you about all the amazing places in Brazil with all of the different landscapes and all the different places. So to wrap up our unit, we're going to be looking at the reason why Brazil is so difficult to describe. And that's mainly because it's such a diverse country with different landscapes, different towns and cities, and the Amazon rainforest, different climates. So lots of things to cover today to finish off our unit on Brazil. So let's get stuck into our lesson. And our learning question is, why is it so difficult to describe Brazil? So that's our question today. Why is it so difficult to describe Brazil? And these are the things that we're going to be covering. So we're going to go over the 7 continents of the world that you've done really well. And let's see if we can nail all of those today in the last lesson. Locating Brazil, where it is in South America. And again, you've been excellent at that. Then we're going to think about why the geography of Brazil is so diverse, and we're going to look at different physical features in different parts of the country, just to have a recap on that, as well as different human features within different parts of the country as well. So as always, before we get going, you're going to need your paper and pencil and your hopefully huge geography brain, because you've learned so much knowledge already and I can't wait to see it today. So if you need to pause to go and get those bits, please do. Okay, so let's begin with our first challenge of the day, which is going to be naming and locating the 7 continents of the world. So here's our world map, and I'm going to show it nice and big. Here it is all over the screen for you. I want you to point with your finger when I say the name of a place. So first of all, could you point with your finger to South America? So see if you can find South America. That's the one that we've been focusing on this unit. Did you manage to find it? Let's have a look. Well done if you found it. Okay, it was the purple one on the left-hand side of your screen. Next one, nice and easy, to point with your finger to North America. So we know South America. Where is North America? Put your finger on it. There you go. Well done. Awesome. The yellow continent that you can see above South America. Next step, I'd like you to find the continent of Asia. Can you find out where Asia is? Can you point to it, please? Well done if you managed to point here. It's the dark red continent on the right-hand side of the map. Next, I want you to find the continent of Africa. So put your finger on the continent of Africa. Well done if you managed to spot that one, the big orange continent in the middle. Next, let's have a look for the continent of Antarctica. Put your finger on the continent of Antarctica. So you hopefully have spotted that it's right at the bottom of the map. That's where Antarctica is. Next, let's have a look for Australia. Put your finger on Australia. Well done. If you manage to find that one over there, the kind of pinkish one on the right-hand side. Finally, the continent where we live here in the UK, it's the continent of Europe. Put your finger on Europe. There it is, the last one there, the green one at the top. Okay, brilliant work. Well done if you managed to find all of those and managed to locate them on the map. And today, we're going to be zooming back to South America and for the last time, going to be focusing on the country of Brazil. Now, before we zoom in on Brazil, how many different South American countries can you remember? So there were 12 in total. Remember, there's lots and lots of different ones, but one of them is a territory of France. Can you remember which one that is? So your challenge, how many can you shout out in 1 minute? So you're going to pause the video and shout out to me. How many can you shout in 1 minute? On your marks, get set, go. Okay, let's see how you got on. So let's have a look for the last time. Were any of the countries that you called out, that you shouted out, Venezuela? Did you get Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay? Hopefully you got Brazil. In French Guiana, remember that's a territory of France. It's not a country in itself. Suriname and Guyana. Well done if you got lots and lots of those. Super work. Okay. Now we're going to be focusing back on Brazil, which is here on the east side of the continent of South America. So next question for you. Why is the geography of Brazil so diverse? So why are there so many different types of geography around this particular country? Now we've learned quite a lot about Brazil in this unit. Why is it such a diverse country? So keep that in mind as we go through our next few slides. First of all, I have another question for you, and I want you to answer whether it's true or false. So let's have a look at this one. All of Brazil is covered in rainforest. Is that true or false? All of Brazil is covered in rainforest. I want you to shout out the answer at the screen. 1, 2, 3. Well done if you said it's false. Not all of Brazil is covered in rainforest. Even though there is a large rainforest within Brazil, the Amazon, it doesn't cover the whole country. So well done if you said false. And we can see that the geography of Brazil is really diverse because it's a very vast country. So that means it's a really big country with lots of different climate zones and lots of different landscapes. Now, if you look at the map on your screen, this map shows the different higher lands. So those higher above sea level and lower lands. So you can see, for example, in the northwest of Brazil, the land is lower down. There are less mountains and less peaks. And that's where the Amazon rainforest is. Whereas you can see the higher pieces of land like the mountains towards the south and the east of Brazil. And those, you can see those are a slightly different colour on the map. So one reason why the geography is so diverse within Brazil is because it's such a big country. So the land changes a lot and the landscape changes a lot throughout the country. Now I've got another true or false for you. The weather is always hot and dry in Brazil. So you can see a beautiful beach there, that looks nice. But is it always hot and dry in all parts of Brazil? Is it true or false? Get ready to shout your answer. 1, 2, 3. Well done if you said false. It's not always hot and dry in Brazil because within Brazil, there's lots of different climate zones. And we've had a look at this map in previous lessons. And on this map, you can see the different colors show the different climate in different parts of Brazil. So for example, you can see the darker blue areas there. They have warm temperatures. So they're very hot and they have lots of rain all year round. And that's the place where can you remember? The Amazon is. Yeah, well done. So it's always hot and it's always wet around there. Then you can see those red and orange areas to the east of Brazil, and they're often warm and very dry all year. So they're more of a kind of a desert landscape in those places. And then the green areas have different summer and winter seasons, and the climate is more mild. So it's warmer in the summer and it's colder in the winter. So we can see that the climate changes even within the country of Brazil because it's such a huge, such a big country, depending on where you are. So the climate and weather will be very different. Now, let's have a think about those physical geographical features that we can recognize in Brazil. So we know that the climate is very different around the country. We know that the landscape is very different. Let's have a think about those different physical features that we can recognize in different parts of Brazil. So we know that the physical geography varies a lot. It's not just a country covered in rainforest. It's not just a country that's covered in mountains. There are loads of different features. So we have the Amazon rainforest, which is in the northwest of Brazil. We've got mountain ranges further south towards the east. We have rivers and waterfalls. We have dry desert areas, particularly in the east. And we have lots of different coastlines throughout the country of Brazil. So let's have a look at some of those we've looked at before. So here's an image of the Amazon rainforest. And we've looked pretty in depth at the Amazon rainforest in our previous lessons. So that's in the northwest. Here's the tallest peak in Brazil. Can anybody remember the name of that? That was quite a while ago we spoke about that one. That was Pico de Neblina. And that's the tallest mountain in Brazil. And it's on the border with Venezuela. Then we have the Iguazu Falls, the waterfalls in the south of the country on the border with Argentina. Remember those huge waterfalls, the biggest range of waterfalls in the whole world. Then we have the drier desert areas like the Caatinga that we looked at in a previous lesson as well, and that's in the northeast of Brazil. And then we have the coastal plains within Brazil as well. And the coastline goes all the way along the east side of the country. So because it's such a huge country, the weather changes, the landscape changes, and the physical features change throughout the country. So I want you to put all that information into this task. I'd like you to fill in the gaps in this paragraph, choosing the correct word. So you're going to look at the whole paragraph and you're going to choose the word that fits in the gap. So you've got Brazil has different climate zones because it's such a country. This means that there are different features in different parts. For example, that is in the northwest of Brazil, where the climate is hot and wet. So have a look at those words, choose the right word that goes in the gap and fill in your paragraph, or you can say the sentence. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, great work, everybody. So we should have Brazil has different climate zones because it's such a large country. Well done, if you got that one. So if you've written the word large, this means that there are different physical features in different parts. So well done if you got that one too. And for example, there is the rainforest in the northwest of Brazil, where the climate is hot and wet. So super if you got that one as well. Good work. So now we've thought about the physical features. Let's have a think about the human features that we can see within Brazil. So there's another true or false statement here. All people in Brazil live in large, busy cities. Is that true or false? All people in Brazil live in large, busy cities. So have a think, get ready to shout your answer. 1, 2, 3. Well done if you said false. It's not true that all people in Brazil live in large, busy cities because there are loads of different types of human settlements there. Can you think of any? So let's have a think about those different human features that we can identify in Brazil. So we know that there are around 212 million people living in Brazil. And people in Brazil live in lots of different types of settlement, ranging from huge urban cities to small rural towns or villages. And even those people that live within big cities, some of them have different experiences than others living in the same city. So if you remember, we looked at that case study about Rio de Janeiro in the previous lesson. So let's have a look at some of that diversity within human features and human settlements in Brazil. So we've studied Brasilia, which is the capital city of Brazil. We've also looked at Sao Paulo, which is the largest city in the whole country. And we did a case study on Rio de Janeiro, which is another huge city within Brazil. And within that city, we looked at different experiences of people that live there. So we learned that some people might live in a kind of skyscraper or huge tall building or fancy flats or apartments. Some people lived in the favelas, which are the smaller developments on the outskirts of the city in the hills. So again, even though they live in the same city, their experiences might differ quite a lot. And then we looked at the smaller rural settlements like the villages within the Amazon rainforest. So we studied some facts about the Awa tribe living within the Amazon. and the types of settlements that they lived in as well. So we've learned so much about Brazil and the huge diversity within the country, and you've done really well at that. So your final task today is I would like you to think about why Brazil is so difficult to describe. I want you to make a list of all the ways that Brazil is diverse. So you might want to think about the climate, what's different about the climate in different parts of Brazil. You might want to think about the wildlife, so the different animals that live within Brazil. You might want to use some information that we've learned from previous lessons to do that. You might want to think about human settlements, so the different villages and towns and cities within Brazil. And you might want to look at different physical geographical features as well. So there's the mountains and the rainforests and the lakes and the deserts and all those different features. So much information that we've learned. So I want you to write down or say everything that you've learned in a list of all the ways that Brazil is diverse. Now you can either write it down or you can say it, or if you want to do a poster about Brazil, it's completely your choice today. So it's up to you. So the way that you're going to show this, I think is going to be fantastic. So you can do a list, you could say it, or you could do a poster. It's completely your choice. So pause the video now, or if you want to rewind to go back through any previous information that we spoke about, you can do. You can pause the video now and have a go at that task, please. Okay, great work, everybody. I can't wait, or your teachers will love to be seeing all of those great things. So that's the end of our lesson today, and that's the end of our unit on the geography of Brazil. So I've loved exploring the geography of Brazil, and I've certainly learned a lot on this journey with you guys as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it and found it interesting. Well done for your hard work today and in our previous lessons. Now, if you're really proud of some of the work that you've done in our geography lessons and you want to share them, or share the work, please could you get an adult or parent or carer to take a photo of your work, then you can send it to your teachers who cannot wait to see it. So you've done amazing. Again, really proud of all your efforts at learning about the geography of Brazil. Hope you've enjoyed it and can't wait to see all of your work. Well done. Give yourself a massive pat on your back and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.